Rich Gedman standing at second base. He has shucked the shin guard that he wears when he's hitting. One away in the seventh. 1-0 Red Sox. Jim Rice talking about Henderson making a good blocking back, I think. One and two. High pop fly into shallow right. Hernandez looking for Strawberry, tagging up as Gedman, but I can't believe he's going anywhere, and he's not. All he wanted to do was to make Strawberry throw the ball and hope he might throw it away.
But I tell you, the Mets had it lined up perfectly. He threw it to Santana. Knight was behind him, and Darling, the good pitcher that he is, was backing up Knight, so they had it lined up. But Gedman did a good job in drawing the throw.
Now let's see. There is always a decision to make in the National League. You have a runner at second base and 2 out, and the pitcher coming up. Now normally you might say, well, put this man on and let's strike out Hurst, and that'll be the end of that. There's no one throwing in the bullpen, and McNamara and his pitching coach Bill Fisher looking on. However, sometimes, not this time, they're going to walk on, but a lot of times a manager will say, go after that 8th place hitter. I want the pitcher to start the following inning. But this time they'll take the bat out of Owen's hand, and they'll go against Hurst, who is not, by the way, on deck. So it's been a tough inning for Ron Darling, opening up with a walk to Rice, then the wild pitch, the error by Tuffle, and now the intentional walk to Owen.
This is one of those situations we were talking about. Not that John would make a move, but you'd have to think about it. Do I pinch hit? Do I have somebody warming up? You have to do that 2 or 3 innings previous.
You know, I remember an expression about a guy who was cheap with a buck, and they said he gives up a buck as easily as he gives up a tattoo. Well, Davey Johnson gives up intentional walks about as easily as he gives up a tattoo. The Mets walked only 29 hitters intentionally all year, and no other National League team issued less than 55. Ball 1. So it's a little rare to see him do it.
That it is. Now they've been able to get him with nothing but fastballs. He's looking for his first major league hit. If he'd get one here, it'd be a triple celebration.
1 ball and no strikes to Bruce. Foul back. Hey, now he made contact.
He broke the slump right there. He just broke the slump.
Tried. His brother, who said don't embarrass the family.
He got a piece of it.
Now you didn't have to put that up there. What an awful thing to put up. Struck out every time at bat in the big leagues. The Bruce Hurst Marching and Chowder Society will not accept that graphic. 1 and 2.
Hang in there, Dewey says, and Bruce wants to say I am.
I'm trying. Foul. So he's made contact twice.
Pitchers use the theory, I'm going to swing, and if the ball happens to be there where the bat is, look out.
Tell you one thing, I'm amazed that Strawberry's playing as deep as he is in right field.
He plays deep for everybody.
I guess that must be a nightmare if he thinks Hurst's going to hit one over his head. See you later, Bruce. However, a big run on a couple of walks and Tim Tuffle's error. And at the end of 6½, Sox 1, Mets nothing. The emerald green ring that is Shea Stadium, nestled amongst the lights of Flushing in Queens, New York. And now things are starting to build. 7th inning, 1-0 Red Sox. Well, we'll see about that. I guess one of the great cliches as you look at Roger McDowell loosening up, and you hear it so often. How many times have you seen a player who makes a great defensive play lead off the inning? Well, okay, we can take that and turn it inside out, because here's Tim Tuffle, whose error gave the Sox the run. Tuffle singled to left in the 2nd inning and struck out in the 4th. And Boggs is deep and almost on the line. That means they open up the left side of the infield for Tuffle. And the fork ball. Here's that play again. He'll start to come up just a tad right there with the glove, and the ball stayed down. And that's the difference in the game. Tuffle will drag. They'll have to think about a bunt up there. 0-1. And strike 2. Now he's in a hole.
Just a perfect pitch on that outside corner.
Tuffle followed by Santana, but then Darling is due to bat third, and I think that's why McDowell is heating up. Davies thinking about a hitter, especially after that collision with Henderson.
You saw Gedman move to that outside part of the plate. The way he caught that ball, didn't catch it coming up with the face of the glove, but going down.
Little roller to that hole because Boggs was on the line, and there you have it. That is one of the most debatable points in all of baseball. What should have been a routine ground ball, since Boggs was guarding the line, is a base hit.
And the thinking behind it is give him the single, take away the extra base hit, and they gave him the single.
And now Wally Backman will run for Tuffle. Take another look.
Boggs is out of the play. He can't make it at all, and Spike Owen is running towards the foul line. There's nothing he could do.
All right, you got one of the pests on the bases, either Dykstra or Backman, and it's Backman. So Backman running for Tuffle. Then Santana and a hitter for Darling, perhaps. Darling is on deck. Santana hit back to the box and flied to center. He had a chance to pick up a run. He flied to center and left Strawberry at second in the fourth inning. So we'll watch Backman, and so will Hurst. 1-0 Red Sox in the seventh. The bunt fouled away. 1-1.
Buckner has to compensate for his injury and his legs, and he was off the bag, indicating he's coming in looking for the bunt. Now talking to his pitcher Hurst, I'm sure he's setting up something to say either he's coming in or come on over there and I'll break back.
It's duly noted in the minutes of the last meeting. The first time the Mets really tried a bunt comes in the seventh inning.
Exactly what he did. I'll go in but come back if you want to keep him close.
Santana does not have much experience. Davey has had him sacrifice only once all year.
He's choked up.
And he got it down. Hurst has to go to first. Covering is Marty Barrett. And on the sacrifice, Backman, potential tying run at second base. And coming up, Kevin Mitchell.
Buckner, the key man, he's trying to come in, but he can't be of much help. Hurst has to make the play, and Buckner ducks out of the way to give Hurst a clear shot at it.
You know, it's really heartbreaking to watch a guy playing like Buckner in the World Series on a bad leg. It's really something. But here's the kid from San Diego, Kevin Mitchell. And John McNamara going over to look at the candidates, and the first thing he'll do now is run a line through the name Mitchell. He has been used. He won't have to think about him later on as a possible right-hand pinch hitter. Mitchell was about as busy as a kid could be this year. He started at 6 different positions, and he hit first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth in the lineup. So Kevin Mitchell out of San Diego hitting for Ron Darling.
And if you're wondering, Boggs is still guarding that line. That's the strategy that the Red Sox will use. There you see him.
Ball 1. 1-0 to Kevin. And he has a look at Buddy Harrelson. Harrelson, when he coaches at third, is more vocal coach than a visible hand or arm coach. Tell you more about it. Swung on and missed. And when we get to Fenway Park, it could be very, very important for Harrelson and the decisions he makes with a runner at second base. What he will do on a base hit, he will run at the bag so that the base runner will pick him up running towards the bag, and then he hollers either "you've got to go," meaning to score, or "no, no, no," and he'll hold him at third. 1-2, foul ball.
Dangerous way to coach.
Yeah, it is. I said to him, you mean to tell me with 55,000 people screaming at Shea Stadium, you're hollering no or go? And he said, it's the rhythm. They know. I always say, you've got to go. 1-2.
He's been very successful. He's a good third base coach. He's very active, as you can see, out of that box.
1-2 to Kevin Mitchell. Backman the tying run at second, 1 out. Got him on the inside corner, and Kevin Mitchell, caught looking, becomes strikeout number 8 for Bruce Hurst, who is pitching a dandy.
Big left-hander in the jam is really coming up with the great pitches. Look at Gedman slide outside and come back inside if there was any peek, and he got him. And once again, look how he holds that glove inside the strike zone. It's not that he's trying to steal a strike. What he wants is that borderline strike, and that glove is always in the strike zone. And I'll tell you another way you can watch the catchers and see how many balls they drop. This kid doesn't drop many.
Well, here now is Mookie Wilson with 2 out and the tying run at second base. Bruce Hurst, like Ron Darling, has struck out 8. Fastball on the outside corner. Calvin Schiraldi, the ex-Met, is heating up, if you can use that term tonight, in the Red Sox bullpen. 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. The difference in the game is in that error column. The Mets, who made just 1 error in the league championship series, make an error that has changed the game around. Hurst wants to make sure that the right side of the infield is set properly. Evidently somebody in the bench hollering to Buckner where to play, and Marty Barrett. Though they're afraid Wilson will go the other way. 1-1. 1-2. He was trying to pull that pitch, and there's no way he's going to hit it.
Impossible. It was a good pitch to the outside part of play, maybe even out of the strike zone.
1-2 the count. 2 out in the 7th. 1-0 Red Sox. And it's the beginning of the first time World Series managers to begin to sweat. 2-2.
You took that we took that shot of McNamara in the background. You saw the blue book. That's the scouting report. There it is. And they're just constantly checking it.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out to Wilson, who is 1 for 3 tonight. Backman the tying run at second. Ground ball smothered by Boggs. On his feet, throws him out. Fine play by Wade. He was able to move and get the one that he couldn't get on Tuffle. And the tying run is left at second, and it's 1-0 Sox.
Here's the big play of the game so far. Boggs guarding the line, gets a good jump down on his knees, makes the long throw. It's almost like Boggs is saying, well, if I'm not going to get any hits, nobody else is going to get any. He set himself, and down he goes in the webbing. That's the key play so far.
Well, Wade Boggs is going to start it off in the 8th inning against Roger McDowell, who comes into the game since Darling went out for Mitchell. And remember, Wally Backman. And let's check. There is McDowell, but Mitchell is staying in the game. Kevin is in left field. So since Wilson made the last out, it's a 2-for-1 National League switch. And John McNamara came out to John Kibler to ask about it.
Kevin Mitchell is now in left field, batting ninth. And the pitcher, Roger
So
McDowell,
Mitchell is in left field batting ninth. The pitcher goes in the last out spot, the leadoff role of Wilson. Roger McDowell. I can be wrong as he pitches to Wade Boggs, but I would swear that Gene Mauch back in the early 60s invented the 2-for-1 switch.
If I had a bet on that, bet on Gene.
Yeah. Strike one. I can never remember prior to Mauch's managerial time in Philadelphia the 2-for-1 switch, which we see every day now. 0-1 the count. Boggs hammers it right at Santana. So Wade, a bullet to short, 1 away, and Boggs goes 0 for 4. Roger McDowell is a youngster out of Cincinnati who set a Mets club record. He was in 75 games, and he tied with Toronto's Mark Eichhorn for the major league lead with 14 relief wins. He also had 22 saves. He is basically a sinker curveball pitcher. And here's Marty Barrett, singled, struck out, and flied to right.
When you talk about a sinker ball, you'll see it. It is a hard sinker. He'll get a lot of ground balls if he's got that good one going.
There's
it
a
was.
sinker and a comebacker. That's another thing. If you're a sinker ball pitcher, you are so accustomed to balls being hit back at you that you have to develop over the years a very good follow through. He was in perfect position to handle a comebacker.
You're going to get a lot of those ground balls.
Look at this follow through.
And it's a heavy ball, too. Look at the weight. Now he's ready. Weight equally distributed. He just dances over there.
Textbook. 2 down, and Bill Buckner, who has the admiration of everybody, including the opposing players. He is hit into a double play, single to left and struck out. 1 for 3. One ball, no strikes. On deck, Jim Rice, who has scored the only run of the game. There he is. 1-0. 1-1. Back in 1974, World Series, Oakland against Dodgers, Game 5, and Buckner represents a tying run at the plate. 8th inning. He hits a shot into the outfield that gets by Billy North, backed up by Reggie Jackson, who throws to Dick Green, who throws to Sal Bando, and Buckner is nipped at third, and the Oakland A's go on to win the series. 1974, but in some respects for Buckner, it seems like yesterday. Hojo is well bundled up.
Gary Carter leaves nothing to chance. Look at him checking Buckner in the batter's box. He'll look up at him. He wants him to shake him off to confuse Buckner.
2-1. All 3. Someone described Buckner as having ankles like doorknobs. They're going to have surgery. Then he strained the Achilles tendon on the left leg. And he's playing. 3-1. 1-0 Red Sox. Top of the 8th. Chopper to short. It shouldn't be any contest for Santana. He just lobs it over there. So the Sox are gone in order, and at the end of 7, 1-0 Boston, and make it 7½. Bottom of the 8th inning, the Boston Red Sox leading the New York Mets 1-0. Dave Stapleton has picked up for Bill Buckner at first base, and at the plate is Lenny Dykstra. And to all intents and appearances and sound, the World Series is just now beginning.
They know what this guy can do. He's the guy who kickstarts this Mets ball club.
Right. Bruce Hurst has been magnificent. He's allowed 4 hits. He has struck out 8. Darling pitched right along with him, but the error by Tuffle is the difference in the game. 1-1 to Len. Ball 2. He had Wade Boggs on the move with that fake bunt, and he brought Stapleton up. So the corners were on the move.
Well,
2-1.
He's got Boggs in close to begin with. As soon as he left the bench, Boggs went in about 10 steps, as he should.
Ball 3, and now the Mets fans begin to loosen up. You have Dykstra, Hernandez, and Carter, and John McNamara begins to paw at the ground. He has Schiraldi along with Sambito now in the bullpen. That's a strike. 3-2. He had Nipper early, then he had Crawford. Now Schiraldi and the left-hander Joe Sambito, who used to be a Met. 3-2, the count to Lenny Dykstra. Big pitch for Bruce Hurst. 8th inning, 1-0 Boston. High fly ball into right center. Dave Henderson calling. 1 away, and that puts the lid on some of the enthusiasm, and it'll bring up Keith Hernandez.
Mets first baseman.
Of all the people here, I guess the fellow with the most mixed emotions would be Lou Gorman of the Boston Red Sox front office, who had so much to do with the Mets as assistant to Frank Cashin in the signing of Dykstra, Mitchell, McDowell, Aguilera. In fact, there is quite a Boston-New York connection, and it really begins with Gorman. Right.
That was Hernandez's home run swing. He's going to try to tie it up. It's a situation where you have to try to get the extra base hit.
remember that rip he had on the ball caught by Dwight Evans back in the 3rd inning. And he goes the other way, but it's just a fly ball to Rice. So 2 down in the 8th inning. And Gary Carter coming up. Carter grounded to second, hit into a force play, broke his bat, and singled to center in the 6th inning. The Mets have had opportunities. 1st and 2nd with 2 out in the 2nd. 1st and 2nd with 2 out in the 3rd. A runner at 2nd with 1 out in the 4th. 1st and 2nd and nobody out in the 6th. The leadoff man aboard in the 7th, and yet Johnson has come up empty. 4-1. So the Mets have had their opportunities, and each time Hurst fights them away.
Got the power guys up. They're trying to hit that outside part of the plate.
And that's hit to the gap, and Henderson appeared to go back and now recovers to come in and make the play. So 3 fly balls, and Hurst walks off leading 1-0 at the end of 8. Friends, just a reminder, this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Vin Scully along with Joe Garagiola here at Shea Stadium in New York as we go to the 9th inning of Game 1. And the Red Sox leading 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. The Mets no runs, 4 hits, and 1 error. The Red Sox will have Jim Rice, who scored the only run. He walked opening up the 7th inning, advanced to second on a wild pitch, and scored on the ground ball that went between Tuffle's legs when Tim started to bring his glove up and the ball hugged the ground.
If you're wondering about Hurst, who's on the bench right now, in 8 innings, he's made 114 pitches, 78 strikes, 46 balls, and he's getting that first pitch over in pretty good shape. 19 of 31.
So 1-0 Boston in the 9th. Fastball in there for a strike, inside corner at the knees. Roger McDowell. He faced 21 batters in the LCS. 15 of them hit ground balls. He struck out 3 more. Strike 2. That's the sinker followed by the curveball. 2 of the 3 tonight have hit ground balls that he has faced. 0-2 to Jim Rice. Grounded out, walked twice.
Is Carter checking for peakers?
1. If you are not keeping score and you wonder about the Mets in the 9th inning, it will be Darryl Strawberry, Ray Knight, and Wally Backman. 1-2. Just missed. 2-2. Boy, that was a tough pitch to take. Wow.
Well, sometimes when you take a pitch, you're completely fooled and you just want to look cool, like I had it all the way. That does happen.
John McNamara trying to get a jump on the Mets and Davy Johnson. 2-2. Fouled away. Of course, no matter the outcome tonight, everyone, including Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, and Davy Johnson, they'll have to think about that dream matchup tomorrow night. Roger Clemens versus Dwight Gooden in the Big Apple. Wow. There's Dwight. Two balls, 2 strikes to Jim Rice. Big bouncer off his glove by the mound, and Roger can't pick it up. So we were talking about his follow through and how he's accustomed to having balls hit back at him, and he couldn't flag that one.
That ball always appears to be coming back much harder than it is. He looks like he's in good position. He really put some extra on it. He was in good position. It just kind of goes off his glove, and as always, you're the last guy to try to figure out where the ball is, and his first grab, when he misses it, it's just too late. But he was in good position, as the replay showed. Just didn't make the play.
By the way, there are 3 official scorers for the World Series. Red Foley of the New York Daily News, Dave Nightingale of the Sporting News, and Charlie Scoggins of the Lowell, Massachusetts Sun. Dwight Evans, ball 1. That error goes right hand in hand with the run. balls, no strikes.
Here's where Evans really becomes dangerous, because he can look for his pitch and he can handle it.
1-0 Red Sox, top of the ninth. He is a very good low ball hitter. That's what makes this confrontation so tough. You have a sinker ball pitcher and an extremely good low ball hitter. You're talking about strength against strength.
Carter makes a nice play, almost backhands it like a first baseman. That particular pitch looks like McDowell really overthrows it because he's not usually that wild. I mean, he misses by a big margin, and Carter backhands it and makes a good play. Evans looking down at third base. He'd like to have that green light on 3 balls and no strikes. Hernandez got the green light.
He is, according to the scouting reports that I've read, Dwight Evans is considered the best 3-0 hitter on the Red Sox team. And again, remember, he's a low ball hitter against a sinker ball pitcher. Let's see. Nope, ball 4.
You give him 2-0, 3-1, and he becomes really tough. 3-0, and you can see that, hey, you're asking for trouble. Now they got a meeting. Everybody's going to go. The whole infield and McNamara.
Runners at first and second, nobody out in the 9th inning. Davy Johnson watching like a hawk. No one throwing in the pen. It's up to McDowell, and the batter will be Rich Gedman. Now you have completely opposite that you had with Evans. Now you have basically a high ball hitter.
You'd have to be looking for a bunt. Knight is in, backing off.
Hernandez is behind the runner and backing some more. So Gedman does bunt. There's a play at third, and there it is, a force play. McDowell to Knight, 1-5, erasing Rice.
I just wonder if Gedman was able to pick up Hernandez way back. You'd be looking for the bunt. Knight was at third base, but as you pointed out, Vin, Hernandez back. Now look at Hernandez going back. A lot of room. Starts in and down he goes because he's caught completely by surprise. But Gedman's bunts right back to the pitcher McDowell. Easy play at third base.
If Gedman bunts the ball the other way towards first, that's right, the bases are loaded.
He could have had a base hit if he'd had his shin guards on.
So with 1 out, runners at first and second, 9th inning, 1-0 Red Sox. Here's Henderson, fly to center, single to center, fly to right. And he and Ron Darling were in that strange collision behind the plate. You have Gedman at first and Evans at second, 1 out in the 9th. Off the corner, ball 2, 2-0.
This is rare for McDowell. He doesn't do this get behind the hitters like that, because you get behind like that, you have to really come in, and sometimes to come in, it take a little bit off, and that's big trouble.
You know, it might also be now, after about the 4th or 5th inning, the players are beginning to realize they're in the World Series. Maybe all of that LCS excitement has finally gone away, and now the realization, this is the end. He's high again, ball 3. The Sox have had runners in scoring position tonight, 3 of them on walks, and a walk has set up some trouble tonight.
Henderson keeps looking at Latchman. He won't even look at him. Henderson wants to hit 3-0. You would tend to doubt that.
That's in there. The crowd, at least for the moment here in the 9th inning, sitting very quiet, which is not the rule here at Shea normally. We'll see about the bottom of the 9th when the Mets come up. But 55,076. Ground foul, 3-2. Henderson trying to give Bruce Hurst a little cushion, trying somehow to give him an additional run to lean on in the bottom of the 9th.
With 1 man out, McNamara's got a decision. Do you start your base runners? And the strikeout, throw them out, and you're out of the inning. Ground ball, you're out of the inning. So Johnny Mac's got to make a big decision here.
And Spike Owen on deck.
I would say they're going.
Runners leading, runners hold. Ground ball to the hole. Base hit into left field. Evans to third. Mitchell's throw is there. He is out at the plate.
he's running on that play, he makes it. But it was a decision Johnny Mack had to make. He decided to hold. Now the ball is a base hit between Knight and his shortstop. And Mitchell all the way on the fly. Watch Carter. He's got plenty of time, and he forces Evans to slide to the inside. And Evans never does get to the home plate. He forced him way in, and Evans really turns out to be an easy out. A matter of a couple steps. Starting the runner, yes. Didn't start him, no.
Evans out at the plate. However, Gedman took the extra base and went to third. Henderson took the extra base and went to second. They are now going to walk Spike Owen. And Johnny Mack has another decision coming up. Do I hit for Bruce Hurst and come in with Schiraldi? Here's another look.
Look at Carter force Evans to the inside, and he never gets to the plate. He just kept forcing him out. Good tag by Carter.
So Spike Owen, hitting 8th in the lineup, will receive his second intentional walk. And Bruce Hurst looks at the dugout and starts to take his windbreaker off as Evans goes to the pits for repairs. And it is still 1-0 Boston. And in a moment, Bruce Hurst is still looking for a decision, and they're calling him away. They're going for a hitter. The hitter will be Mike Greenwell, who is the only left-hand hitter on the bench available to McNamara. And John rolls the dice, trying to get a run or two. He will lift Hurst and then give the ball to Schiraldi. What a job turned in by Bruce. He went 8 innings, allowed no runs, 4 hits, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. But of course, if it wasn't for the error by Tuffle, Ron Darling would be even with him.
Of course, Schiraldi, the big man, and it's been often said, pitching will make a good manager. A good bullpen will make a great manager. And Johnny McNamara is depending on Schiraldi, who's just finished his warm-ups, and he's ready to come in.
Down in the Mets bullpen, Jesse Orosco is throwing back of McDowell. So in the inning, the Sox have had 2 singles and 2 walks and have failed to score. The bases are loaded with 2 out, and here is Mike Greenwell trying to get them well off, and he lifts a fly ball to right center. Dykstra is calling that he has it, and the Mets dodge a bullet in the 9th. And at the end of 8.5 innings, as Bruce Hurst calls it a night, Shea Stadium wakes up. It is 1-0 Boston. It has been a long time here at Shea to see the Mets shut out, and the Red Sox are 3 outs away from doing it in Game 1 of the World Series. The Mets, thoroughly stifled by Astro pitching, got away with it as they were, in a word, scot-free for the final game. Now they get the battle cry, wake up. They're going to have to wake up against a former Met, Calvin Schiraldi, out of Houston, Texas. He was a teammate of Roger Clemens and Spike Owen at the University of Texas. He has a great fastball, an excellent control, a good forkball. In the words of Don Baylor, Calvin Schiraldi could be the next Goose Gossage. Well, we'll see. And now they're alive and awake at Shea.
Time is called. There's something on the field down in right field, a beach ball.
Darryl Strawberry struck out in the 2nd inning, walked and stole a base in the 4th, and struck out in the 6th. You might remember he hit a home run to break up Nolan Ryan's shutout in Game 5.
The pitch that seemed to confuse Strawberry in the LCS was the low curveball, low inside, but Schiraldi, outstanding fastball, and here he comes.
0-1. If you wonder who pitched the last shutout at Shea, September 11, 1985, a former Red Sox, John Tudor. Ball 2. Calvin Schiraldi trying to save it for Bruce Hurst. Ball